I'm gonna answer your question for you. Um, I felt I answered this before, without before it was even asked. Meaning that before, when he was doing his rant, I've already answered this question. So, in case people didn't read the title, Joe Budden said in a podcast or whatever barbershop chair sitting interview with Mav Hoffa and whatever team that they have that did it. I'm not dissing them. I just believe it was Mav Hoffa and his team. I want to give them their credit and their just due for the questions that they were asking. Um, the one girl who was sitting there, I guess she's more of a fan, and she's trying to interview and she really doesn't know how to get to what she wants to get to in this situations, without, she's trying to like dance around feelings and what people want to talk about and what they don't want to talk about. And it's obvious that Joe has been or reached a point to where his people have told him to stay away from mentioning Eminem and not to mention Eminem anymore. So when it got to the situation where you guys asked me the question about Eminem and what did Joe mean by he won't work with Slaughterhouse again unless they're away from Shady, like what did he mean by that? I mean, he means just that. But he said that don't mention Eminem. That ain't got nothing to do with Eminem. Like, what did he mean by that? So, you gotta let us know the real. The real is this: Joe Budden. This is probably the most candid interview that you're probably gonna catch of him, of being really Joe Budden. And what he means is just as simple as that. Like, I love them, and he would want to work with them, but unless they own the work and they can control what goes out with the content, then why would he be a part of it? He seen what Griselda's doing and was like, why couldn't Slaughterhouse do that? Like why did they have to compromise who they were, and do some things that wasn't Slaughterhouse to try to cross over to a bunch of people that don't want them anyway? They just want Shady. So what are we really here for? And this is what you're not getting. That's the message that he's really sending to you. What are we really here for? If this is it, because we're making music that it's not kind of resonating, and our music is already set. Like everything that we were dropping was kind of classic, was on the Griselda type level. And now that we were Shady, of course you're gonna make the summer commercial hits that's gonna probably pop, but it just wasn't working because the chemistry wasn't right and the system wasn't right, and what they were trying to turn them into wasn't gonna work. But then again, it was like they had no support towards anything that they were trying to do as a group, but they were there for another purpose. You were there to give Eminem that credibility that M just shows up for the photo shoot, then you don't even see this guy anymore. That's what he was there for, and you guys were being used. And that's what Joe's meaning. Like, we got to get away from Shady, not the Eminem, but Shady, the actual industry, the wheel, the machine of all them people involved with Paul and all those guys who are making the decisions. And when you get away from those guys, then you can start tapping Joe on the shoulder and saying, let's try to go and build this, or let's do that, because, oh, okay, I got that, and all right, we can move in this way and we can move in that way. We got it, and we can make our own music. He's saying, look, when you guys step away and we got control of Slaughterhouse again, bet. Now we can get down to doing some things, and I'll record with all you guys. Because deep down, Joe was right about Slaughterhouse. I'm not mesmerized here. He was right about that. He wasn't mesmerized. He was assuming that because he was with Shady Records, things were going to improve for Slaughterhouse. They were going to be massive. They were going to do tours. They were going to be doing these shows. They're going to be with Eminem. He's part of Slaughterhouse now. It's going to be going down. All the illest MCs in the world plus Slim Shady. They just killed the BET Cypher. And then nothing happens. But then again, Joe Budden did drop the weakest line in the entire Slaughterhouse history. I done took the wine out of Amy house. I said, oh my God. That's like somebody rapping Joe Budden and rhyming anything with button. Yo, I told Joe don't button in. I'm like, oh no. When I heard M rhyme something with buttons, I'm like, oh no, he's rhyming buttons. Don't do that. So anyway, on top of that, the Eminem album review is coming. Don't worry. It'll be here on time on Monday. Uh, we haven't gotten enough cash apps to make the budge, so we might just make the video instead of the live stream. But it's all good. The cash app is still Carceno, Karceno. And if you want to donate to the Streamlab and leave us a long, detailed message, you can. The donate button is in the description box. And of course, if you want to join the Patreons like the rest of my friends, the description is also in the description box for the Patreon. So don't forget that. Now, back to this situation. That's got a lot of people angered. I was one of the people that always believed in doing the right thing. When Joe started to ask questions, people started to look at him like he wasn't a team player. And Royce, who still remained friends with Joe Budden, even after all this Eminem beef stuff, why was it okay for Royce to be cool with Joe Budden when he was ranting against Eminem? And what made them silence Joe Budden on their whole subject? I guess Royce just said, look, you made your point. Now just be quiet. Let him say what he want to say and get out of it. So I guess that's what he decided to do. But listen, Eminem don't make the everyday decision for Shady Records. That part goes to Paul Rosenberg. And Paul Rosenberg, he calls himself and gets off on being called the White Suge Knight. Of course, a black rapper gave him that, name, and he was wearing it to a T. I'm the White Suge Knight. Yeah, I like that. They didn't fear me. I'm like, those people are staffers and people who are setting up and trying to do their job. You're trying to intimidate these people. Doesn't give anybody the advantage. So, while people were going down this route and road and all of these different things, Paul Rosenberg was using distraction, people's attention being turned away into other things, including himself. It was just time to start shutting some things down. And Shady Records was imploding. Things were changing over there. So now that they revamped off the strength of Eminem, here comes all this extra money coming back in. Eminem drops 2 albums in a year. And despite of what you guys may know, Eminem needed to drop those two albums because a lot of money was not looking good, and it was time for him to get back to work. So after you know, the situation there, it was, basically no more crews. Everybody was just mostly individual rappers. Like anybody who was a rap group was basically broken up at the time, and guys was kind of coming back together just for one album. But the majority of the general public was empty, you know. So it is what it is. I think Joe Budden was on to something by saying that, cause it was like he kind of knew, that they're all tied to him some kind of way. So what are we really talking about? Best not say nothing. Don't rock the boat. And deep down, they know he's right. They know Joe's right. But they got to defend Shady. They got the checks coming in. And I'd be like, this is not my job description. Sorry. Real is real. Fake is fake. I'm out.